Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl KeKe, and I want to welcome you guys to the first episode of my 15 Murder Countdown to Halloween series. So, obviously, the title should be self-explanatory. So, there's 15 days to Halloween, and for each day, I'm going to post a video detailing a murder that took place on Halloween. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Boom. So, have you ever wondered why when we went trick-or-treating as kids, we weren't allowed to eat any of the candy until after we got home and our parents checked it? Well, number 15 on the countdown is the culprit. Ronald Clark O'Bryan, AKA the Candyman. He's the reason. So the story goes like this. The O'Bryans live in Deer Park, Texas. So on Halloween night 1974, the O'Bryans went to dinner in Pasadena at a friend's house. Now the friend was a man named Bates. I don't know his first name. His last name is Bates, so we're just going to go with Bates. That sounds cooler anyway. So the plan was for the O'Briens to have dinner and then take all their kids collectively trick-or-treating in the Bates neighborhood because, the Bates lived in the good neighborhood. So they was trying to get the good candy. Feel me? I get it. So, boom. They head out trick-or-treating after dinner, right? And this is how it was supposed to go. So O'Brien was supposed to take the kids up to the porches to get the candy, and Bates was standing on the sidewalk like the security or whatever, waiting for them to come down. So, boom. They get to a house, and it's dark. So the kids look and they go over, ring the doorbell, whatever, and nobody answers. So the kids like, hey, we finna head out. We gonna go to somebody who's gonna give us some candy. So they all walk away. Boom. O'Brien, he hangs back for a good about 30 seconds, 45 seconds or whatever. Then he catches up to Bates and the kids. So when he runs up to them, he's holding at least two, but up to five of them big old pixie stick, the little plastic tubes, pictures right here. And they're like, oh, he's like, yeah, you got rich folks in your neighborhood, Bates. They out here passing out the expensive treats. So then they sit here like, wait a minute now, we all was on that same porch. Ain't nobody answered the door or the lights was out. How you get the candy? So he claims he went to the side door and folks opened up the door just a little crack and gave him a piece of candy for each kid in this group. Alright, whatever. So then he goes, that's just suspicious to me, but I don't know, I guess he was in a real trustworthy time in the 70s. So we'll just run with it. So they continue trick-or-treating for a little bit, but then it starts to drizzle. So they gotta head back to the Bates house. So, they get back to the Bates house, everybody gets settled in or whatever. So O'Brien's like, boom, food was bomb, we had a good time, kids trick-or-treated, so we about to head out, okay? They got a bag full of candy, we gonna go home. So back then, kids probably weren't, the parents probably wasn't checking the kids' candy like we do back then, okay? Like we do now. So, Bates' 8-year-old son took a piece of candy out because he was like, you know what I'm saying? Mr. O'Brien said, this rich folk candy, I'm trying to have the expensive, the fancy treats. So he pulls it out, about to open that joint up, and you would have thought O'Brien was a damn football player the way he ran interception so that little boy couldn't ingest that candy. Now here's why though. So O'Brien worked as an optician at the Texas State Optical Company. Alright, so this man has serious financial problems. Alright, so the family was delinquent on a bunch of loans. They had been forced to sell their home just to pay their main bills. And they was just going through it. So O'Brien over here running his mouth, telling everybody his business, okay? His friends, acquaintances, anybody who would listen that, he was basically in financial ruin and he ain't had no money, he was broke, and he had a hell of a lot of bills. So he also told them that he expected to receive some money at the end of the year. Now, they looking like, well, damn, you owe all this money. Who finna give you this money? Where you about to get this money from? I don't know. So what he did was he raised the amount of the life insurance policies for both of his kids because he had an 8-year-old son named Timothy and a 5-year-old daughter named Elizabeth. So, even though he was that broke, he went and raised these amounts. You know what I'm saying? I guess he figured, I might have to pay more for the insurance now, but it's about to pay off later. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. So meanwhile, the coverage on him and his wife was at the bare minimum. So he only raised it on the kids, not him and his wife. So automatically, some bells should start dinging in y'all head like, oh shit, this man about to kill his kids. Alright, so boom. So this man was taking a class. I don't even know what the class was, honestly. It just said he was taking the class and he asked the professor something. So boom. So he was taking the class and he asked the professor, about what doses of cyanide could kill different sized animals. And then he went on to excuse me, he went on to quiz one of his customers who happened to be a chemist about different types of poisons. And then I guess the customer told him about, potassium cyanide, and then all of a sudden that's the one that caught his eye. That's the one he was interested in. So he asking the man, tell me all about it. Where can I buy it? All type of stuff. Okay, so boom. So now we in August, 1974. We about roughly 2 months before Halloween, right? So this man tried to get the damn cyanide from the place that he worked at the Texas State Optical Company. Okay, he couldn't do that. I don't even know why the hell if you're trying to commit a crime, you're trying to do it with all the stuff that's right around you. Like, it won't lead back to you. But 1974 was a different time. So I'm just gonna let him live on that one. So he was successful getting the cyanide from work. So he called a friend of his that worked at the Arco Chemical Company to discuss the availability and the varieties of cyanide. Like, this man really wanted the cyanide. So he basically kept talking about cyanide with his co-workers, and again, anybody that would listen. Like, and I don't even understand how anybody didn't think that this man was being super suspicious to keep talking about some damn cyanide. Like, what is your fascination with the damn poison? That's what I would have said. Like, something ain't right here. Like, what you want? Why are you so interested in it? But okay, whatever. So, right before Halloween, he showed up to a place called Curtin Matheson Scientific Company, and that was a chemical outlet outside of Houston at the time. So he couldn't get the cyanide from them because they only sold it in large quantities. So he asked them where he could find smaller amounts. So I guess the man found what he was looking for, okay? Because on the night of Halloween 1974, after he had brought his kids home, he told his wife, you know what, baby, go out with your friends. I'm going to watch the kids. You know what I'm saying? So the wife went to visit a friend, and he told the kids, this was right after trick-or-treating. He told the kids, he was like, okay, y'all can each have one piece of candy before going to bed. So pick wisely. So he urged his son to pick that pixie stick. He probably was like, you know what I'm saying? But I got that one special. We the only ones that got this from that house over there. And, look how big it is. I mean, it's a lot of candy, for you to be able to have right before bed. And it's expensive. We got the good stuff. So I think you should pick that one. So his son, had trouble getting the candy open. So he took it, he rolled it in his hand and loosened up the candy, because I'm guessing that all the goddamn cyanide that he put in there had caked the candy up. Because you know how, like, them little powder candies got the anti-caking agent, but I don't think that anti-caking agent is made for powdered cyanide. So, he had to, like, loosen it up to get it so that his son, could eat it or whatever. So, where am I? Okay, so then his son ate all the candy or whatever, but he complained that the candy had a bitter taste. So he went and got the boy a big old cup of Kool-Aid to wash it down. Now, I don't know if the Kool-Aid helped activate the poison or whatever, but little Timmy instantly became sick, and he ran to the bathroom puking his little guts out. Now, he got so sick that he went into convulsions, and finally O'Bryan decided, let me call an ambulance. So Timothy died within an hour after arriving at the hospital. So cyanide was found in the fluids that aspirated from his stomach. The fluids that were aspirated from his stomach, and it was also found in his blood. Now, the dosage of cyanide in this little boy's system was well above the fatal dose for an adult human. So, like, he killed his son with that damn cyanide. So, in court, this man never seemed to really show remorse, and his story was constantly conflicted. Now, he claimed that he had got the pixie sticks from the Melvin residence. Now, if y'all know who the Melvin residence, that was the house that was dark, that he claimed he stayed and knocked on the door, and the man opened the door and gave him 5 pixie sticks for each kid in his group. And, that story didn't pan out because Mr. Melvin, he had been at work from late into the evening on Halloween, and that was, easily and quickly verified by his place of work. So, that's also why the lights was off and nobody was home, because this man was working. So when O'Brien's residence was searched, they found Ronald O'Brien's pocket knife with traces of pixie stick powder and plastic from the tubes, and there was 5 tubes. So his plan was to kill his children only and collect the insurance. But he had to make it look like someone else was trying to harm the children. So that's the reason why he gave the other pixie sticks to his friend's 2 children and some random kid that had tagged along with them. So that's why he stopped his friend's kid from ingesting the poison when he became a football player for about 2.5 seconds. So the police got the other 3 tubes, and the last tube, it was a miracle that they had gotten to it. So what happened with the last tube was that last tube was the one that he had given to that random little boy who had tagged along with them. So it was 5 tubes. So his plan was pass the candy out to all these different kids, so it looks like that they was poisoned by somebody else and not him. So what happened with this little boy that had the last tube was that when O'Bryan had put the damn cyanide in the pixie sticks, he had like resealed the containers with staples. So the little boy, you know, he a little boy, so he wasn't strong enough to get the staples out of the plastic. So he had fell asleep holding the pixie stick. So I'm guessing he was like, man, first thing in the morning, when I wake up, I'm asking my mama to open this up so I could have all this pixie stick. But miraculously, the police had got to him and got into the candy before that little boy could ingest it. Thank God for that. So a few days after little Timmy was buried, the insurance company told the police that O'Bryan had upped the kid's policy shortly before the son's death, and the wife was unaware of it. So they bagged him up, they tried him, you know what I'm saying? The jury took about 45 minutes to deliberate his guilt and 70 minutes to say, hey, this man needed a death penalty. So on March 30th, 1984, Ronald Clark O'Bryan was sentenced to death. Now, I'm going to read out his last words. His last words were, "What is about to transpire in a few moments is wrong. However, we as human beings do make mistakes and errors. This execution is one of those wrongs, yet doesn't..." Wait a minute. Oh, okay, so he wrote this in a letter, and nobody proofread this for this man. So this execution is one of those wrongs, yet doesn't mean our whole system of justice is wrong. Therefore, I would forgive all who have taken part in any way in my death. Also, to anyone I have offended in any way during my 39 years, I pray and ask your forgiveness, just as I forgive anyone who offended me in any way. And I pray and ask for God's forgiveness for all of us respectively as human beings. To my loved ones, I extend my undying love. To those close to me, know in your hearts I love you one and all. God bless you, and may God's best blessings be always yours. Ronald C. O'Bryan. P.S. During my time here, I have been treated very well by all TDC personnel. Now, I don't know if they told him to add that on the back end, but bro, you have got to be kidding me. So you sitting here saying that it's terribly wrong that they about to execute you. You killed your son for $40,000 that you don't even get to touch. You was gonna kill your daughter too, so I don't know what happened when he decided he was just gonna hone in on the son that night and not the daughter too. But you killed your son for $20,000. Oh no, because he upped it. It was $20,000. He upped it to $30,000. So there was $30,000 a piece on each child, which goes. So he was trying to kill his kids for $60,000 to get himself out of debt that he probably put the family in the first damn place. And you want to say I have a problem with them sentencing you to death when you sentence your child to death. And not only they giving you a humane death with the death penalty, you sat here and you literally tortured your son with poison and watched him die and had a nerve to sit here and be like, oh, I forgive y'all. Oh, I extend my undying love to my family. Are you kidding me? Because if you love your son, you would have never killed him. If you would have had just manned up and figured out a way to get your family out of debt and pay off that stuff that you owed instead of sitting here ending your son's life. So I don't want to hear that. It's BS and it's nonsense. But, you know, what we gonna do? It's folks like this out here, and clearly he wasn't showing any real remorse. He's sitting here like, I forgive y'all for wronging me. Like he's about to sit here and get the chair or lethal injection because they just decided to pick him, you know, out of a lottery one day. Like, all right, boom, you're up next for death. No, you killed your son. You tried to kill your daughter, and you almost killed 3 other kids that weren't yours. Your friend's kids at that, and whoever the other little boy was that miraculously did not ingest that poison. So, good riddance, Ronald Clark O'Bryan. And clearly he had no remorse at the end. He's saying here, acting like somebody done did something to him when you sat there and ended your own son's life, your own flesh and blood, your own child, okay, for a couple dollars. They do say money is the root of all evil. So that was it for the first episode of the 15 murder countdown to Halloween. Alright, so y'all check in with me again tomorrow. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, especially if y'all want, since I'm doing these daily, you know what I'm saying, like throw somebody in the comments if y'all want me to, you know, add it to the countdown. I might do a couple little honorable mentions or something like that. And smash that bell so y'all know when the next episode is coming out. You know what I'm saying? This is a good series, so I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Later, guys.